This has got to be the most disappointing job in the entire galaxy, the captain was thinking, looking to the distant stars from his deck. All of a sudden, interrupting his reflections, the door slid open. The head accountant, a particularly shy Oxtraxian named Zandir, walked in. Great, as if this day could not get less stimulating, he thought. Greetings, Captain Valak, the guest inquired, stuttering. Sheer Zandir, why such a visit? His superior coldly answered. It's more of a concern, sir, about the humans. Valak took a deep breath. This is bound to happen at some points. He heard stories from other captains. What about them? Well, 2 rotations ago I heard noises during my sleep shift, so I tried to investigate by asking around. Zandir was now talking frantically. As it turns out, during our load and rest stay at Irvin D1, head engineer Laurent, together with security officers Carlos and Schmidt, found some human trinkets in a small shop. Apparently among those were some movies, a form of visual expression much liked by humans. The accountant made a small pause to catch his thoughts before resuming. Nobody knows how, but Laurent managed to make those DVDs, as he himself called them, compatible for the briefing screen in the lounge, using what were essentially only scraps, and organised a so-called movie night with the other humans, Carlos, Schmidt, Rossetti and McKinney. The captain smiled. He admired how little time human friendships needed to flourish, and how deeply they rang. Humans, like magnets, always bonded together in crews. Those 5 in particular, he always thought, were extremely close. So they just repurposed the screen to play some cultural media? Doesn't seem much of an issue, honestly. Well, sir, together with those DVDs, they also bought a liquid, called by them beer, that with extreme shock I discovered contains 7% pure ethanol, and what is worse, around a galactic microunit of processed tetrahydrocarbonol, which, as you'll know, is among the most powerful neurotoxins of the galaxy. When I asked McKinney about it, she simply replied, and I quote, "It's just weed, dude." Valak could not believe his ears. He leaned in to listen more carefully to the accountant's retellings. Were the humans planning a takeover? A terrorist attack? Why would they ever need poison or neurotoxins? I mastered courage, Xandar continued, and showed up to the second of those movie nights. The captain could read the horror out of the accountant's 4 eyes. As I arrived, I discovered to my shock what the humans were doing with those substances. Sir, they inhale the THC and drink the ethanol. I do not know for what reasons. Valak could start to see why Xander was so distressed. The humans, this now brought an ominous fear in both their hearts, were doing such things while watching this film. Possibly it was a ritual. The accountant took another deep breath, visibly terrified. The worst part was perhaps the images on the screen. It was, as they themselves defined to me, a retelling of a particularly bloody human war. Many scenes featured humans brutally hacking each other with rudimentary metal tools, and the depiction spared no detail in gore and brutality. Our human crewmates were not off-put in the least. To the contrary, they appeared in a frenzy. I had a look at Schmidt's eyes, and his normally white scleras were blood-injected red. I shall never forget that. All were laughing, and during a particular scene, Laurent and McKinney mimicked the fight on the screen with 2 sticks found in the lounge deck. After the film was over, they simply talked for a while, then headed to sleep. Needless to say, I could not. I believe, sir, that you will have to find a new accountant as soon as we dock. Captain Valak stood in silence for a while, meditating on Xander's reports. Well, they haven't hurt anyone, have they? Absolutely not, sir. They were very respectful with me and left the lounge in pristine conditions. That is probably what scares me the most. I'd rather not tell anyone about this, then. I thought the exact same, Captain, but I felt like you had the right to know. The accountant stood up and headed out of the room. Captain, one last thing. The protagonist of this film tale, the humans called him a hero. Well, he withstood almost anything. Anything? Blunt force traumas, lacerations, dehydration, torture. He barely even showed fear in front of potential and probable death. I'd assume a human is nearly unkillable by any conventional means. It certainly appears so. Xander finally left the room. Just as the accountant left, the door opened again to reveal a new guest. Captain Valak, I have the routine check reports in the reactor. As soon as he recognized the voice, Valak shivered in utter terror. Head Engineer Laurent! Welcome!